You ready, Nick? Okay, I've never
Ready.
met Nick, so I'm reading his introduction. Born and raised in Eugene, Oregon, Nick's love for the area is deeply rooted in his upbringing. His local insights and in-depth knowledge of the real estate market have made him a go-to agent for those looking to buy or sell in Lane County. Licensed in 2020. Woo! That's a tough one to start. Nick began
February 2020.
Oh, no.
Wow. Nick began his career with KW in the PC program, and in 2023 was elected as a top producer to the KW ALC in Eugene. Congrats, Nick. That's a good bio. That should be inspiring to all of you. So with that, I will let Nick take it and run from here, and I'll just chill for a while and make sure nobody else pops in so everyone gets credit for being here.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for the introduction. Hi, everybody. Like I said, I'm Nick West. I'm out of the Eugene office. I'm on the Culture Committee and DEI, ALC, as well as part of the regional ALC team. I'm going to apologize in advance. I am throwing an event this weekend that has like 10 to 15,000 people, and I'm the vendor coordinator for that. So my phone is blowing up. So if for some reason my screen goes wonky, it's probably because my phone is ringing and my computer's telling me to answer the phone. I've tried to put it in do not disturb, but fingers crossed, we'll see what happens. But let me see here. I'm going to pull up my screen. If I can manage to remember how to do that. Let's see. What are we looking like? Do we have the whole thing up? Okay, perfect. And I'm going to try and move us over here so I can see everybody's faces. Bop, bop. Okay. So today we're going to talk about following up with leads. The last class, you discussed follow-up communication, and today we're going to talk about what happens next once you get a response from a lead and turning that into an appointment, and then turning that appointment into a deal. Sorry, let me get my thing. Boom. Okay, cool. So here we are right there. We're at number 11, follow up with leads. Again, today's agenda, we're going to talk about conversion of leads. We're going to talk about how to convert a lead into an appointment. We're going to talk about how to improve your conversion rate. Hopefully we'll have a little bit of ahas at the end. We can recap over, we have some questions, and then we'll talk about the daily success systems. Gary Keller says the effort you give to converting leads must match the effort you give to generating them. That is totally a true statement. A huge part of our job, our career, is generating those leads, getting them. Second huge part is actually converting the lead, because if you're not converting it and turning it into a deal, then you're obviously just kind of wasting your time, right? I mean, obviously you're not wasting your time, but the end game is to get something out of it, get a deal out of it. I don't know if you guys are following along or have a sheet that you follow along with, but basically what we're looking at here is the lead conversion process. Converting a lead to an appointment is the process that can happen quickly in some cases, and it can happen super slowly in other cases. The book Shift tells us that consistently getting every possible appointment from the leads you generate isn't complicated, but it does require preparation, practice, and purposeful action. Focusing on that purposeful action, that's a huge part of it. The model of this the top of this model starts with capture. You have to capture that lead, get the information from them to be able to contact that person. Then you move down into connecting to that person, gaining information from them and building trust. Finally, the end of it closes with an appointment. Without the appointment, the conversion hasn't happened yet. Boom. After lead generation, lead conversion is the most business critical activity you must master. It's where the possible business that comes from generating leads turns into probable business and ultimately into profitable business. Converting a lead to an appointment has so much importance because it's how you have a chance at earning income. Converting appointments to business is also a key to economic success. That all makes sense. All right, so here we're going to talk more about actually how we get to the specific steps of converting a lead into an appointment. This hopefully will, like I said, hopefully get us there. Capturing a lead is defined as collecting the minimum amount of valid contact information of a potential buyer or seller. So there's all sorts of different kinds of leads out there. We'll talk about them and go over them. One of the ones that you'll probably come across in your early career or even just forever is going to be internet leads. An internet lead can be a great, you get their name, their phone number, their address, what they want to do, or an internet lead could literally just be someone's name. So they can be kind of all over the place. At its simplest, capturing is collecting the minimum amount of a valid contact information for a potential buyer or seller. This should include things like their name, a way to get a hold of them, whether it's an email or a phone number. And most likely, this is the information that you're going to get when you are generating for leads. Have any of you already kind of experimented or tried any ways of capturing leads and had any success with any of those yet? What do you got?
I just did an open house and then they contacted me and we put an offer in.
Really? That's awesome. So you held the open house.
First offer accepted, but it's gone now. The seller and the buyer couldn't. But
are you still in touch
working with
her?
I'm still working with the buyer to find something that's a little more for her.
There you go. You did it. That's amazing. Congratulations. One of the early best ways to collect leads, and also it's a great practice, is to do open houses. The fact that you got a true actual lead with a brain fart, a motivated buyer, that's amazing. And the fact that you even went that far as to write an offer, so cool. Congratulations. That's like, that I'm again blown away. That's awesome.
I went and bought a lottery ticket.
Oh. I'm like, yeah. Okay, good call. Good call.
This is not normal, I don't think so. I need to do something.
I mean, that's like the end game. Every time you do an open house, that is your end goal. But the fact that you got it done that quickly and that went that far into it, and now you have a ready, willing, and able buyer, that's amazing. So yeah, I would definitely buy a lottery ticket too.
Hopefully.
Right. Did anybody else have any? Has anybody else had any success with finding any leads quickly? Well, if you think of something, let me know. Okay, so when you're capturing leads, it's important to know that you're gonna, like, what you're gonna kind of say to get the conversation started. Some of the, like, I want to say they're almost open-ended questions, but it's still with an end result there. So some of the good frameworks to have with the conversation is, okay, if I were to need to contact you, what would that number be? Okay, then you're not just asking them for a phone number. You're saying, if I needed to. If I found exactly what you're looking for, how would I get a hold of you? If I found out the information that you're wanting, how can I get it to you? It's a good way of getting phone number, email, all that good stuff. The second step to following up with leads is to connect. Connecting is about layering the foundation for a working relationship. What's important during that step is to listen, huge on listen. You have to ask good questions, offer solutions, and keep the focus of the conversation on the person you're talking to them. The goal of the communication in addition to building a relationship is to determine their urgency. So you can get a lead that says, oh, in the next 5 years, or you need to determine whether it's, I want to buy a house or do something within the next couple weeks. You want to give enough information, get enough information from them to know how to prioritize the lead. And that can help you determining which kind of touch campaign you end up going for and how you keep in touch with them. As you communicate and connect, keep in mind, you want to embed your value proposition in the conversation. I believe we've already talked about value proposition. You don't just want to send a text or an email that doesn't really offer anything back to the person. You want them to be able to, have value in your in when you connect to them, reach out. If you struggle with I want to say script practice or talk tracks, a good way is to role play. to practice with another agent, ways of keeping the conversation going. Honestly, one of the best ways to role play is to teach yourself how to listen. A lot of us, as soon as the silence kind of breaks, we just start kind of filling it up with words and words. And then it kind of becomes more about us and less about the person who we're trying to connect with. It's way harder and it takes way more practice to actually listen to somebody than it does to not and just kind of spill your guts. Give me 1 second. Somebody's in the waiting room. Let me figure out how to get them in here. 1 second. Sorry. You can tell I'm like, okay, so I came from a tech background. Like I used to work at Apple, but pretty much since then, and working at Apple there, I am now like terrified of tech and not great at it. Is it Irene? Perfect. Okay. I think we got everybody in here now. Gloria, Skylar, Irene. Hello, everybody. If you didn't catch, my name is Nick West. I'm in the Eugene office. Keeping going. Okay. And then the other thing is, you want to know the outcome that you want to know the outcome of what you're looking for from the conversation before you start. That's why, again, listening and using questions is one of the best ways to make this happen. Sorry, people keep joining the room. So let me just get them here. Boop. It's weird too, because my mouse totally disappears when I when I pull open that. Okay. Okay. We have 6 connecting questions. Okay. Connecting is more than just small talk. Your communication should seek to answer the 6 basic questions. Okay. Those questions are: who are they? Who is the person you're working with, you want to work with? What do they want or what do they need to do? Do they want to buy a house next week? They want to buy a house in 6 months? Do they need to sell their house in 2 years? Where do they want it? Where do they need this help? And what do they need to make it happen? Another really good one that you need to figure out is why. You should always be wondering the why. What is their big why? So why do they want to do what they want to do? Or why do they need to do what they need to do? They have a kid coming. They're moving. They're getting a divorce. The big why, you always want to know the why. Then after the why, you always want to know when. When do they want or need to do it? When you find out their timeline or sense of urgency, that helps you figure out how much you want to reach out and how much you want to offer with your help at this point. And then you also want to find out how they plan to do it. You might be talking to somebody, and a lot of people, and I'm sure you already know this, don't 100% know the real estate transaction. A lot of people, they may have either never bought a house, never sold a house, or if they did it years ago and things change. You might be having a full conversation with somebody, and then all of a sudden you find out, oh yeah, I'm planning on having my sister's best friend sell the house because they just got their real estate license. And then you're kind of like, okay, well, so you need to know how also. You don't want to kind of waste your time, right? When you know how, it also allows you to offer the best proposition for your help as well. These questions help whoever you're speaking to also open up. So when you're asking these questions, like these open-ended ones, it's not a yes or no answer. Then you filling in the blank again. You're letting them talk to you and you're listening. Again, all these questions, they may or may not work specifically to your unique business. And you've got to take some time to plan out a framework for a conversation that helps you with your business and what you're trying to do. Make sure you practice these too. Practice these out. Like I said, it's a great way to role play, and role play isn't just for so much speaking. It's really great at helping you listen and understand what's going on there. And then have you guys talked about FORD yet? FORD? Maybe at some point. It's an acronym. FORD is something that you can think of to let them figure out open-ended questions to ask. I'm sure. I think you guys LP Mama. That's a good one too. Those are all just basically like open-ended questions or things to ask. So family, what do they want? Yeah, basically all those. My part is covered over here, but I know what it says, cultivate. Okay, so the cultivation step is which a lot of agents find themselves struggling. You may have gotten so far, you got this lead, you're good, you talk to them, you know what they want, but now the trick is to actually make that happen. I even myself, I had that, I want to say it's like imposter syndrome, where you almost don't realize that you're the expert in the situation because you're so new at it. But when you think about it, like, you are totally an expert. Just the fact that you got your real estate license and you're in the business, you're so much farther than anybody else. So don't feel like a lot of agents have that struggle with cultivation and actually making it happen because they don't feel like they can go out of their way and reach out to this person. You feel like you're maybe bothering them. You're not. Think about all the emails that you get from Cost Plus World Market every day saying come in for a coupon. That's annoying. You're not literally bugging them 5 times a day or even every day, right? You're literally there to help. Agents, if they have a hard time cultivation, what happens is they let the lead slip away, and then they get disappointed when they learn that that lead transacted with a different agent. You shouldn't let the lead slide to someone else, especially when you have invested a lot. So don't let it go to waste. I've been there. It's crushing. It's pretty heartbreaking, especially when you're talking to, like, a friend of yours, and then you just kind of assume, oh, okay, yeah, they're gonna remember me. Maybe in 2 months when they want to buy a house, they'll talk to me. And all of a sudden you open up Facebook and you see that they just closed on a house with some agent that they found at an open house. It's pretty terrible. Like I said, I've had it happen to me. It's not fun. That's why you need to keep the cultivation going and make sure you're top of mind. This lender who, when I was really beginning, I really listened to a lot of things that she said. She's not a lender anymore, but she used to be at Summit Funding. She's still there, but she runs Summit Funding. And one of her really big, a thing that I really took from her, and I still think of it this day, is, and it's kind of like sad and not morbid, but dark almost, is that people forget about you every 21 days. So you can only maintain so many relationships on your own without doing anything. And essentially it takes 21 days for somebody to forget about you. So that right there is a huge kind of motivation for staying top of mind. Again, staying top of mind isn't just sending them a generic email that they're not going to read. It's texting, it's going out of your way, it's asking how they're doing. And if you can do that every 21 days, especially, just to make sure you're thought of, I promise you it's a huge thing. Quote right here: you can't know or predict when they will come to a decision, but if you're reconnecting them in a systematic way, you'll have the greatest chance of being there when they do. That's when you'll be able to close for that appointment. There we go. Hey, okay, so I got a question then. When you're asking for an appointment and you're fully saying, okay, great, let's get together and chat, what do you think the best way to do it is? Whether it's a text, an email, a phone call, or in person?
Probably in person.
Probably in person. You're going to be the most, obviously, when you're in person, you're there. Text message, essentially think of that as nothing. An email, same thing. A phone call can be great, but then are people scrolling on TikTok when you're actually on the phone with them? When you're there in person, you build that connection as well. The least effective are definitely text message, email, right? Phone call and in person are the most effective for sure when you're doing conversion. Obviously, if somebody's moving from Salt Lake City to here, you can't really meet in person all the time. I would suggest a Zoom call. Most people now are pretty apt. I say that I'm terrible at it, but most people can get on Zoom and have a Zoom call, right? We managed to do it. So that's a good way of doing it in person. Yeah, question?
Nick, Oh, the screen. Yeah, so I guess kind of an addendum to this, but wouldn't the answer to this depend on how old the person is too? Like maybe somebody in their, I don't know, 20s, text message, somebody in their 40s, 50s, a phone call, that kind of thing too? Or, I mean, what?
Definitely. It definitely can do with setting up that appointment, but either way, an in-person is going to be the most where you're able to actually make an emotional connection with that person. Setting up a text message might be a great way to get a younger person involved, right? But you're not going to want to ask for that appointment and say, let's meet so we can talk about what we want to do for you over text message. You're definitely not going to want to do it over email. You can set it up and say, hey, let's get together sometime. What's a good time for you? And start setting that up. But when you actually have that appointment, you're going to want to do it in person. It shows a professionalism on your side. It shows that you know what you're talking about. It kind of lets you lead the conversation while also still being able to listen, and just shows your presence. And a huge part is just how much you care. Basically, yeah. Again, if you're talking to somebody who is, okay, my mom, she's 70, literally does not know what a mouse is on a computer, right? Like, we tried to teach her one time, she picked it up, pointed at the screen, and my dad and I said, okay, put it down. That's actually a true story. She's not going to be the best person that you're going to want to, do a FaceTime call with. But I guarantee you that person, like my mom, is going to appreciate so much more you going out of your way saying, hey, let's go meet over here, or let me come over and we'll have a sit down and we'll chat. That's going to definitely get you the farthest. I promise. Okay. In the end, if they can meet and have a good enough reason to meet, they will meet. If they don't, they won't. Okay. And that's all right. You don't really care what their answer is ultimately, because you're not getting people to do anything they don't want to do. So if somebody, don't try to convince somebody to buy a house. Okay. Tangent. I always tell people all the time, I don't sell houses. The house sells itself, right? When we go into a house, I'm not trying to convince you to buy the house. In fact, I might kind of be on the opposite side and be really, really critical of the house, because if somebody doesn't want to buy the house, you're not going to convince them to. And if you try, they're only going to kind of avoid that, because you're going to almost give them that, I hate to say it, like car salesman vibe, right? I let you into the house. I'll just talk about the house. I'll help you write the contracts. I'll get you the keys. I'll be your advisor, but I'm not going to sell you the house. The house is going to sell itself. So again, like I said, don't try to force somebody to do something they're not good wanting to do. I have clients that I literally have that have been in my database for 2 years. They'll buy a house someday. We've made connections. We chat. I send them a card every here and there. They get my smart plan emails. But it's like, me telling them you really need to buy a house right now is not gonna make them buy a house. There's a million factors that go into it, and they need to be ready to do it, ready, willing, and able, right? You can help along the way and talk about interest rates and talk about the pros of being a homeowner. But as far as like, you need to buy a house because I'm telling you, it's not gonna work that way. That's not how it works. Oh yeah, quote, you really don't care about what their answer is ultimately, because you're not getting people to do anything they won't want to do. You're just gonna ask and respond until they agree that meeting you with you makes sense, or doesn't. Either way, you both win. And that's for like setting that appointment with somebody and getting to the point where you can have that appointment in one-on-one and say, what can I help you with? The next part is we're going to talk about improving your conversion rate. Okay, so you got the steps and the actions it takes to convert a lead to an appointment. Now we're going to dig deeper into what a conversion rate is and how you can inform your business decisions. Personally, I'm not the biggest numbers guy. Again, like I said, I come from a corporate retail background, so I had conversion rate and all those numbers in my face for 10 years of my life. So I'm not really one to do the math on a conversion rate, but Some people are, and if it helps you, then great, go for it. Your conversion rate refers to the percentage of leads you ask for an appointment to those that actually agree to an appointment. So example, you ask 10 leads for an appointment, you succeed at having 8 leads, you're an 80% conversion rate, okay? That's a high conversion rate, just so you know. Your ultimate goal is to increase your skills so that you can convert at the highest percentage possible. The higher the percentage, the more leads have converted into appointments. If you're converting at a low percentage, this should tell you that you have a lead conversion challenge. The challenge is not the number of leads generated, but your ability to get them an appointment. So again, you can go to a website, buy a list of 500 names, you have 500 leads, but they're not going to do anything for you if you don't actually get to the step to have an appointment with that person to figure out what their needs and wants are. That makes sense, right? Cool. And sometimes lead conversion is based on your total number of leads in your database, and sometimes it's based on just on the leads that you're being cultivated at the current time. What's important for you is to evaluate your business and what works for you. Again, that's like what I was saying. Like, I know that my goal is if I get a lead, period, my goal is to convert it, right? And I'm not going to beat myself up also for not converting that lead, because part of maintaining that relationship, or part of maintaining that lead is maintaining your relationship and knowing that you're top of mind, so that when that day comes, and it will come, that they think of you and you're the person they reach out to. So ways to improve your conversion rate. Big one is time blocking. Time blocking is hard for me, but I do try and have at least a chunk of time each day that session is me working on leads. When you're in real estate, you obviously own your own business. So sometimes it can kind of be hard to like focus in and make something happen, especially when you're working from home and all of a sudden you sit down and then you're like, oh, I need to make my coffee. Oh, the dog needs to walk. Well, maybe I should mow the lawn. If you can set aside a time and time block every day, or every working day for you, whatever that is, and say, okay, from 10 a.m. till noon, this working day, I'm going to time block, and all I'm doing is working on leads, whether it's conversion or gaining leads. Sorry, I'm like reading my notes here on this. Time block is a huge one for people. Like I said, I try my hardest for every working day to have my first part of the day be lead conversion. It's the part that I hate the most, right? I don't want to go out, make phone calls and tell people how much I love them and stuff, but it's clearly part of the job. What I want to do is go out and list houses and go look at houses and write deals. But you just know that you need to have a system in place for converting those leads and getting those leads before you can actually manage to do a deal. A lot of people use systems, whether it's, like I said, going over script practice, back and forth, role playing. That's a lot of people use those kind of systems. A system that I use is I use smart plans. So being Keller Williams agents, you all have access to command. We all have access to smart plans. Smart plans are awesome. If you don't know about them, get a hold of me and I will have a one-on-one with you about smart plans. It's a free thing that we get as Keller Williams agents, and it's totally underutilized. There's my smart plan pitch. And then the other part, connect with your whole database. You can't, don't forget about people. Again, people will forget about you every 21 days. So don't think that, okay, I'm going to really work on this one person and ignore these other 10, because those other 10, they're also, something will happen where eventually they will want to buy a house or have questions about it. And again, you want to be the one to connect to. Again, a great way I connect with my whole database is through smart plans. I have a holiday smart plan where every single holiday, every person in my database gets an email from me and a text that just says happy whatever holiday it is. I have smart plans in there for every 40 days to call certain people that are my like hot leads. And those are all just, like I said, built into the Keller Williams system. And then something you need to remember to do is you do want to prioritize your qualified leads. Again, not ignore other people, but you do want to prioritize the ones that you have qualified as your hot leads, right? Ones that you know want to do something. Those are the ones that you definitely don't want to lose. Like I said, it breaks your heart if you go on Facebook and see that they bought a house with somebody else. And a lot of that, if that ever happens, and if that happens to me, I then go, okay, that's actually my fault. Like, it's my fault that I wasn't the one reaching out to them, telling them how the deal works and what a real estate transaction entails. And so I can't be mad at them for not being educated because I didn't do as good of a job educating as I should have. Does anybody have any questions? I'm literally just going off right now. Okay, if anybody does have any questions, please just like raise your hand or start talking. I am totally here for answering those. And we'll have some question time at the end as well. Again, here's another of the conversion model. Capture the appropriate information so you can connect to assess their needs and establish a relationship, cultivate the relationship, however you want to do that. 21 days. And then you close that for asking for the appointment. When we're talking about this year, the appointment is basically like your end game in dealing with a lead. Obviously, there's way more after that, but the appointment is just a general term of saying, okay, now we're close enough. We built a relationship. I can ask you questions. You can ask me questions. And that appointment, you'll then uncover even more stuff like whether you want to buy or sell or what you want to do for that. Ooh, ahas. Okay, generic questions, right? So and let's be real here. So like I assume that everything I said is something that a lot of it is like, oh yeah, that totally makes sense. You know, I'm not gonna force you to say like, oh, has your thinking changed? What do you feel differently about, right? Is there anything though that you're like, oh, okay, that did jump out to me? Is there anything that you were like, oh, I wasn't thinking about this before? Good, that means you're great. You're all awesome.
I think for me, just doing the time blocking is good.
Time blocking is huge. It is. I hate it. Don't get me wrong. Again, like I said, I come from the Apple world. I feel like Apple invented time blocking. I had to time block for 20 people's schedules before, and it just made me hate it. But when you're doing it for yourself, it's a little bit easier, and it does help a lot.
Yeah.
Especially, like I said, when you own your own business, the structure that you do is the structure that you create, right? So like, you can be like, oh yeah, my business is me. I walk the dog and mow the lawn, and then I forgot to do anything real estate wise. Totally been there. So that time blocking is where that definitely comes in handy to be like, okay, this is the part of my job where I'm clocking on for, and I don't clock out until I'm done here. I know some agents, this is not me, but I do know some agents that their goal, like when they do their lead gen, is they want to make 30 calls that day, 30 touches, whether it's a phone call, a text with a response, a Facebook message with a response. That makes me so stressed out. But there's a million other ways to time block for lead generation. There's a class. I think it's a PC class, and it's called Creative Customer Contact. It's a pretty short one. Have you guys done that one yet? Okay, so it's a pretty short one. It'll be one that either Aaron or Mark teach. And basically all it is just a huge list of ways that you can reach out. It sounds really simple. It's like a 30-minute class, but truly it's one of my favorites because there's almost there's so many ways to reach out to clients and leads that you can kind of get almost set in your ways and being like, oh, so it's a text. There's, like I said, there's cards, gifting, pop buys, events you throw, so many ways. Yeah, I'll get to, okay, I got a story for you and I'll tell you in a second. It's one that I would have assumed would have never been a thing, but it actually got me a deal from it and it's pretty cool. Give me 1 second here. Okay, so Ignite and PC does have a success system. I'm sure you guys have already talked about it. 10, 10, 10. This is a great way to start. This is a great way to start with your time blocking as well. What that is you want to have 10, and this is, think daily. Okay, so this is where some people get that 30 from. This is 10 conversations a day, 10 contacts added to your database, 10 handwritten notes out, and then a social media engagement as well. This can kind of all fall into one too. Like this doesn't actually have to be 30 different people. This could be 10 people in a day. You know, one of your conversations could literally be you calling your brother-in-law, reminding that you're a real estate agent, adding that person into your database, and then writing that person a note saying, hey, thanks for taking my call. Throw your card in there as well. That is a great way and a great starter way to build your leads, build up your database as well. Social media is tricky. Some agents swear by it, and that's like how they get all their business. Others can find it to be a waste of time. It's all about engagement. If you're on social media and all you're doing is just posting houses 24/7, you're not going to get a lot. The way social media works too is people will see your posts when you reach out to them. So a lot of that is engagement from you out. So if somebody takes a picture of their new dog, you go to that, you comment and you say, oh my gosh, what a cute dog. I have a Boston Terrier. We should have a play date. That's how you actually like build your social media engagement as well. You can't just like a photo or post a photo. I'm pretty sure you guys had a social media class already too about that. And I'm assuming they said the same thing. Also, for fun, there's a do not call list. It is actually a big deal these days. So if you are somebody that is making cold calls or calls based off of leads purchased on the internet, you definitely want to match them to the do not call list. It's really easy to do, but the fees and fines that you would incur if somebody were to actually complain about them being on the do not call list and you calling them, it's not worth it. You don't want it. So if you see somebody on that do not call list, even though it's a potentially hot lead, drop it. They don't want you to call them. Pop by their house and leave a card. That's fine, but do not call. Here is a quote. I believe this is a Gary quote. I engage every conversation in the spirit of contribution, and people are happy to be in a relationship with me. That is something that you can say to yourself. It's a great booster. Every conversation that you engage in, you're coming from contribution. So you're only coming there to help. People are happy to be in a relationship with you. Easy mantra, say it. It's totally a self-affirming message, and it's a great thing to think. And the big thing is come from contribution. Again, if you're just out there posting houses that you're doing open houses at, you're not really contributing anything. It's more that open-ended question of asking, what can I do for you, right? You need to come from contribution, and people then will be happy to be in a relationship with you. We're not going to role play right now unless we all really, really want to, which we can. Okay. Wait, I'm going to go back here really quick. So when you prepare your conversation list, this is something that you can do when you time block, right? So when you prepare, determine who you're going to connect with that day before you begin, right? Write the names down of who you want to reach out to. So that way you can see that list and know who you're planning on doing, and then cross it off as it goes. And that kind of also helps you feel a sense of accomplishment. When you take action, when you connect with people through conversation, is the most valuable activity, okay? Building relationships with people in your database takes up most of your lead generation time. Totally true, but that's going to be the most payout. And then you have to maintain. You have to maintain those relationships in your database. Use command, use your contacts list in there. There's a place where you can put notes from what you talked about, put a time to follow up in there, and it will remind you in your task list to follow up with that person on that certain day and keep it going. Don't get lazy with it. Again, if you're okay, I talked to Sally yesterday. You don't need to call Sally today, but then go ahead, send them a text, right? You want to always be top of mind. I can't like stress that enough. Obviously, I think the whole point of this like lesson is to just be top of mind. So 1 second here. This part does actually have some command stuff in there, which is awesome. Here we go. This our success system time. Oh wow, sorry. Wow. Building a real estate business is never over. Okay. If you didn't complete all your conversations in a day, added contacts, notes, or followed up with everybody, just add it to your follow-up list. Okay. I like to keep like a running list. Makes me feel good to cross things off a piece of paper or check it on my phone. If you didn't get everything done today, don't panic. Just know that you're going to do it again tomorrow, and you're gonna focus on it. Again, like I said, it's sometimes it's so hard when we run our own business to be like, yeah, I'm going to do this, and then actually getting the motivation to go there and do it is the tricky part. Lean on people too. Come up, have a friend, your accountability friend. Use Aaron and Mara as the PC coaches. If you're having a hard time, ask them for ways that you can. What's another way I can reach out? I'm having a hard time motivate myself. They hear it all the time, and I'm sure they would love to like discuss with you ways where you can help motivate yourself to get out there. Again, a lot of us new agents, we have a hard time with what like an imposter syndrome, not knowing what we're talking about. You do. You just need to get over that. It can be tough, but the more conversations you have, the more you reach out, the more you talk about real estate, the more comfortable you're going to be with it. Parts of command. How much have we dug into command yet? Does anybody feel like they're versed in command? No, never. Oh, you never are. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I've been doing it for what, 3+ years, and I still like every week you learn something new. In command, there is tons of help videos that have to do with lead generation, not just like the actual like how you work command. And then when you go into the command on the top left, there's a part that says connect. If you go in there, there's a ton of other success stories and YouTube videos that you can watch for people and how they've managed to like kind of motivate themselves and keep themselves top of mind with their leads. Okay, honestly, that's pretty much all I have. Pretty quick one today, not too bad. Again, if you here, I'm gonna close this out here 1 second. If I can figure out how to do it, cool. Like I said, the biggest one to take away from is you need to stay top of mind. It's one thing to get the leads, it's another to convert those leads. Okay. Don't go, don't tell me, okay, spend your money however you want. But to me, don't right now, when you're new in this business, go buy a list of leads from the internet. It's just going to stress you out. What you need to do right now is connect with your sphere. You already know 100 people you can think of, right? And don't count anybody out. Like your weird cousin who is never going to buy a house. That weird cousin of mine has fully given me actual solid leads that I got a deal from. It was weird. I would have never expected it. One of my biggest advocates on the internet is my weird cousin, where anytime she's in all those Facebook groups that I'm not part of, and I'll constantly see my name being tagged on some like thing that she's like, oh, call my cousin Nick, he is great. And like I said, she's never gonna buy a house, or she might in 10 years, not right now, but like she's like one of my number one advocates. When I was talking about staying top of mind too, and coming up with multiple ways of doing it, like I said, you'll come across this class coming up called Creative Customer Contact. Don't miss it. It's a really good one, or watch the video, because all it is just a giant list of ways to keep in mind or keep top of mind. I threw a party that I was like, I'm going to throw this party and I'm going to try and make this a business based party. So I'm going to invite past clients, hopefully future clients, yada, yada. I'm not joking. I threw this party on June 30th. What was that? A month ago. And a friend of somebody that came to the party is actively listing their house with me right now. Like it is for sale right now. And that kind of blew my mind. I was like, all right, I'll throw this party, but I'm going to make it not like just for my friends. We're going to have like, it's going to be like a friend and coworker, colleague, everybody's invited party. And I'm not kidding you. A person that I met at that party their house is listed with me right now. You can go check it out if you want. Please buy it also. I'd love to do a deal with you on it. It's in Cottage Grove. But anyways, yeah, so that's just kind of like part of that stay top of mind. Like I said, that's one of my own little tangents there, just because there's a million different ways to do it. It's not just cold calling people and asking for their business. I literally, like I said, I threw a party. In my mind, I was like, oh God, this is going to be expensive. Hopefully this works out. And it totally did. When I was saying earlier that I'm throwing an event, I do a ton of volunteer work. So that's one of my big, how I meet people. I don't love going to like networking events, because I find it hard to be like, yeah, let me go to this real estate agent happy hour full of real estate agents and lenders that are not going to give me business. So like, let me not waste my time doing that kind of an event, and let me get out in the community. I kind of like, find your niche, find who you want to work with, and find a group to volunteer with them. Then you're kind of showing I'm coming from contribution here. This is what I enjoy doing. And my career is real estate. And now I met all these people through my volunteer work, right? And you better believe all those people know that I'm a real estate agent. That was obviously the point. Also, I'm a great person, have a big heart. But yeah, that's the big thing. And then, like I said, just making sure you follow up. If you don't know about smart plans yet, I suggest you dig into Command and play around with them. Smart plans, essentially, that's how, when you get that email from somebody that looks like they wrote you an email, but they didn't, it's your client relations manager software that's doing it for you. And we get that for free. And again, like I'm a huge advocate for smart plans. So if you have any questions about them, or even want like a one-on-one, I generally do like a smart plans based class every quarter. We've been doing it in person in the Eugene office, but if there's a need for it in a different office, I'm more than happy to do it on Zoom. But that is a huge way to follow up. And then just know that, you are a professional. You are the expert in the relationship. Uncle Bob may have bought a house 20 years ago. A lot of it's changed. You're the expert, not Uncle Bob. Okay. And then also, don't feel like you're bugging somebody, especially if you're coming from contribution and offering to help. you're not going to be bugging that person. You're literally just showing how you're there for them and you want to help. We all got in this business, and a huge part of your business is real estate is you are literally dealing with the most important purchase that somebody's probably going to make in their life, and they're choosing you to be a part of that. So like, you need to also be aware that that's a huge step for them. It's a huge thing for you, and building that relationship, building that trust is a huge thing. And then educating your sphere. Personally, again, sad story. I don't like to share the story, but I will. I had a good friend. I have a good friend. He's a good friend. Been talking to him for years about buying a house, right? I just assumed he knew everything. He knew how to buy a house. That's dumb on me. Then called him one time to just chat, and he goes, "Oh yeah, I went to this open house and I'm pending on it because the agent said I had to buy it like right now, yada yada." And I was like, "That's not how it works. That's my bad." You know what I mean? There's nothing, I can't be mad at him. I just assumed he knew what he was doing and he knew what my job was. You know, a lot of people don't realize that when we don't do deals, we don't get paid. Don't feel bad about talking about your career too, and letting people know what you do and what is your bread and butter and how do you get it, right? Yeah, that's pretty much, like I said, all I got right there. Pretty short one today, but it's, you know, a lot of it is just making sure you stay top of mind. Don't ignore the leads that you think are hot leads, because they're thinking about you. Make sure that you're always reaching out. Do reach out more and pay extra attention to the leads that seem like they're very active and want to make a move on something. But don't also forget about your sphere. You need that sphere. Like I said, my cousin Alicia, she's a huge advocate for me. I watch her kids when we need to. I don't know. I make sure she knows about me because she's gonna take care of me too. And you need those people in your life as well. Does anybody have any questions about anything? True, I'll open book. Ask me anything. Fine. What do you got? Anything? Where's everybody from? I missed that part.
Sunset Corridor,
You're in Sunset. Okay.
Portland, yeah.
Medford.
Catherine, you're in Medford. Okay. Corey, where are you at?
Capital City.
Capital City. Cool, cool. Ryan, I think, said that you were doing something. Skylar's from Sunset Corridor as well. Gloria, I know Gloria's in Eugene, right?
I am. I'm in Eugene.
I believe Gloria actually did an open house at my Cottage Grove listing. Is that right?
I did. Yes. Thank you for that opportunity, by the way. Yes. I am really, really excited to be a part of the Eugene office because of you and your husband. So awesome to be there.
Hey, cool,
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah, and like I said, I'm pretty available. I will put my phone number up there if any of you. So this is me, and this is my phone number. If you have questions, feel free to give me a call. I mean, obviously, Aaron and Mara are an amazing resource. Use them. That's what they're here for. But if you have just some other random question that you're like, hey, you mentioned that thing, or if, like I said, you want to know about smart plans, let me know. And we'll do a quick little one-on-one. I love teaching people about smart plans because I truly believe in them. Like I said, I started in February 2020. Command was different back then. Smart plans were different. A lot of people that started my time tried to do it. It didn't really work out, and I just kind of got jaded to it. But after the time of developers working on it, it's a pretty cool system and device that we have for Keller Williams. Worth it. Worth the $50 tech fee.
Do you know when your next class is?
I don't know when my next smart plan class is, but I will talk with Mara about it. I did one recently, and so I do have one coming up for the next quarter. But again, like if we can get, if you're just like want a quick one-on-one, like a 30-minute quick and dirty run through, any of you, I'm more than happy to reach out and we can do that. And then I will make sure that you all do know about my next smart plan class, because not to brag about it, it's pretty good and it's pretty helpful. And I will give you, and if you attend my smart plan class, I will give you some free smart plans that I have created that are in the smart plan library. And they're some of my favorite ones. But even if you like just want to chat about it, I'll give them to you too. It's fine. But yeah, I hope that this like helps. Like I said, this class is honestly less like informative in the sense of stuff that you didn't already know. It's more of just kind of like a kick in the butt and an empowerment moment. You are the expert. Don't be afraid to know that you're the expert. Don't be afraid to reach out to people. You're not bugging them. This is your job, right? If you worked in a call center, your job is to literally go out and make cold calls, and you're like, that's your job. So you can't say I'm bugging people because it's my job. Also, don't you want people to like, that's my thing too, is like, I want people to work with me. I want people that I know will have such a good time working with me. Like my favorite thing is I'm a real estate agent. I'm also like a part-time therapist because, right? I mean, come on, when you think about it, like how many times do people cry at you during a deal? It will happen, I promise. But you just need to be there to be the one that they want to work with and be the one to help out. And like I said, I don't think of it as like a big deal. And people are like, oh, it's so stressful to buy a house. And I'm like, yeah, it's stressful, but also we can make it super, super fun and have a great time doing it. You know, you just want your clients to be educated and think of you.
Really good
Does anybody have any
information.
questions?
Thank you very much.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for coming. Like I said, you got my name and number. I'm in the Eugene office. I'm there at least like half the week. Usually I'm back by the Xerox machine. Also call me, text me if you have any questions, or email me out here just for funsies. I'll put my email up there as well. It's pretty easy.
Right.
But
Thank you.
anyways, thank you guys for coming. I appreciate it. And we'll see you around next time.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.